The rivalry between Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost remains one of the most intense in the history of Formula One. Their battle at Suzuka has become an iconic and defining era of Formula One racing. In this video, we'll be telling the tale of fierce competition, unforgettable moments, and clashing personalities. Before we go any deeper, let's first answer the question of who is Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost. These two didn't start off as rivals. Ayrton Senna was born in Sao Paulo, Brazil on March the 21st, 1960. He wasn't just any regular kind of Formula One driver, but a remarkable one with a charismatic personality and a strong determination. He had a never give up, no matter what mentality. Senna was fierce. The track was his battleground and he wasn't ready to back down from anybody. His talent and passion for racing left an unforgettable mark in the history of motorsport. Alain Prost, on the other hand, was known as the Professor for his tactical and intellectual approach to F1 racing. Born on February the 24th, 1955 in Lorette, France, Prost had always demonstrated a unique blend of precision together with skill and strategy that would help mould his successful career in F1. These two were good. I mean, more than good. Both Senna and Prost had what it took to become great and move their careers to the top. Their paths were destined to come together and become something huge. Before we zoom off, if you like our content, make sure to subscribe. We have a crazy lineup of F1 racing stories that you don't want to miss. Now, are you ready to go where it all started, where everything began? Well, brace yourself, as this is no bedtime story. This is how two legends came to be. In 1988, McLaren brought Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost together, creating the dream team that would take the world by storm. Pairing the established star Alain Prost with the rising sensation Ayrton Senna was like a match made in heaven. These two were both ridiculously fast. Senna was daring with unmatched speed and aggressive style, and Prost the calculative professor. This duo helped McLaren dominate the track, winning 15 of 16 races that season, and thus winning the Constructors' Championship effortlessly. Things were going incredibly well, because there's no I in team, is there? But like every great story, there was a twist, and things wouldn't go on as smoothly between the two. Now, we've already heard that Senna was daring and aggressive, and Prost the opposite. Their ideas and ambitions began to clash. You see, Senna was relentless and always saw the need to win, no matter the cost. This was absolutely the opposite of Prost's calculative and strategic mindset. And this meant their ambition to both be the best wasn't going to work much longer. They wanted to beat each other at all cost. If there was one race that cemented the rivalry of this pair, then it was the 1989 Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka. There was tension where the tension was already high. Prost was leading the championship in points, but Senna was determined to take it by any means possible, even if that meant colliding with each other. As the race began, Senna was closing in on Prost, with both drivers pushing their limits. Then the unexpected happened. Senna and Prost, racing so hard for the championship, collided on lap 47 at the final chicane. Prost retired on the spot, but Senna managed to get his car restarted and after a pit stop, finished in first place. But that wasn't the end of the story. Something else happened that marked the turning point between the two. Although Senna won the race, and with it the championship, the race stewards disqualified him for getting a push start from the marshals after the collision. This controversial decision also meant Prost was handed the championship instead. This decision naturally made Senna furious. He finished first, won the race, he thought legitimately, and therefore should have been the champion. Senna claimed it was foul play, accusing the officials of being biased. This automatically made things worse and marked a huge shift. Prost left McLaren. The two drivers became sworn enemies, and Formula One got its most famous rivalry in the history of motorsport. Fast forward to the following year in 1990, when the rivalry between the two drivers reached its peak. This time was quite different. Senna was leading the championship and Prost was looking to retain his title to keep his name on top, driving for Ferrari. Senna also desperately wanted the championship title, and to do so he either needed to finish ahead of Prost or for Prost not to finish the race. As the lights went out, both cars dashed towards the first corner. Senna had vowed that if Prost, starting second to his pole, outpaced him to the first corner, he wouldn't back down. Now, bearing in mind the kind of driver Senna is, that truly meant not backing down. It was therefore without surprise that in the blink of an eye, they collided once again. Senna went to the extreme. It was ruthless, it was controversial, and surprisingly, with both of them out the race, it secured the championship for Senna. The same track, the same two men, and again a crash decided the championship. This crash was no doubt the most dramatic in their rivalry, becoming a symbol of how far both drivers would go to achieve victory. Senna went all out, giving everything he could to win the championship. Now, you could say Senna had always been competitive right from the start, and that was his driving style, but on this occasion, at what cost? One would think that their rivalry might only be on the track, but that wouldn't be the case, especially with the media involved. Any reaction is big news, and that's exactly what the media wanted. As the battles heightened, that's exactly what the media wanted, a story to talk about, a place to throw shade at each other. Senna was never shy to voice his opinions, accusing Prost of favouritism within Formula One's governing bodies. And Prost too didn't back down either. He would downplay Senna's accusations and saying that his risk-taking centred on recklessness. Fans didn't back down either. They took sides, creating Team Prost and Team Senna that only made things even more intense. The psychological warfare was constant, with each of them determined to prove their dominance, not in the race alone, but this time in the hearts of fans worldwide. But could this go on forever? Don't you think they would get tired of being rivals at some point? This rivalry went beyond what one would even imagine. Their clashes didn't centre around their wins and championships, but became a reflection of their distinctly contrasting personalities and driving beliefs. After years of clashes and criticisms, it was time for it to stop. Something unexpected, even remarkable happened in 1993. Prost announced his retirement from F1. And this was the perfect time for the two drivers to reflect on their journey so far. In the final race of the season in Adelaide, Australia, Senna won and invited Prost to join him on the podium. Unexpected and different, was Senna finally throwing the towel and offering an olive branch? Yes. Senna's gesture symbolised a softening of their rivalry, and that respect had grown beneath the surface over the years. It was an acknowledgement that without each other, neither would have gotten where they are. And that's why they remain legends in F1 history. Senna's mark in the history of motorsport was extraordinary, but his tragic death in 1994 at the San Marino Grand Prix solidified his legacy as a man who raced with all his might. A man who was one with the car and one with the track. A man who pushed boundaries to win and a ruthless competitor. On the other hand, Prost, the professor, was a tactical driver, and his success was built on the grains of consistency, meticulousness, and listening to the car. After he retired from racing, he moved into team management, contributing to F1's growth. It was like the two of them were destined to meet, to be rivals, and to be racers. Think of it as a story handpicked by the universe for motorsport. Both drivers acknowledge the role their rivalry played in their careers. Somehow, while they may or may not have noticed at the time, it pushed them to limits they might not have reached, making them better and entertaining the fans. Looking back, both Senna and Prost left a mark on F1 and also caused a headache for McLaren on more than one occasion. But that's what happens when you put arguably the best pair in the same team. There's been teammate rivalries throughout F1, think Hamilton-Rosberg or Vettel-Webber, but there's been no clash or rivalry as high-profile, dramatic, interesting or newsworthy as the battles between Senna and Prost in the late 80s. They brought the drama, the heat, the tension and everything else you could ask for. They kept people on the edge of their seats and made fans choose a side, who to support, which team, which driver. The Senna-Prost rivalry will never be forgotten in the conversation of the greatest rivalries in the history of F1 and motorsport. In the end, this rivalry wasn't just about two different personalities, but two personalities coming together under a common cause, winning. While the battles were fierce on the track, they both displayed a great level of maturity and respect that showed the world the power of competition. Now, what are your thoughts? Was Senna right to go to extreme lengths to win? Or do you think he felt threatened by Prost's calculative approach? Did they both feel threatened by each other? A situation of fierceness meeting brains. In the end, Senna-Prost did one thing: they kept fans coming back, race after race. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe and ring that notification bell to stay updated on the interesting stories of F1 stars. See you in the next one.